What's going on, everyone? So the organization took notice, according to ESPN's David McMinnon. Apart from missing more games than he played in for the Lakers the last two seasons, there was a sentiment within the team's front office last season that Davis didn't look like the franchise player they thought they had coming off the 2020 NBA championship, sources said. So what this is about Anthony Davis in regards to the Lakers, apparently how the front office feels about Anthony Davis, how they really want to see him sort of be that franchise guy again, right? LeBron James is coming to an end with his Laker tenure at some point. You know, they got him for a couple more seasons, but very likely the goal is once LeBron leaves, Anthony Davis, this is his team. He needs to be a guy that can take over and sort of lead the charge. And I've said several times in the past, the Lakers go as far as Anthony Davis takes us. There are times when Anthony Davis looks like an absolute monster out there, looks like a guy that could be arguably the best in the league, top 3, top 5. And then other times he just looks like, a pedestrian out there. He looks like a normal guy. And that's beyond the injuries. Now, the injuries are definitely a big concern, a big issue, but it's just been plaguing the league in general, right? I mean, Anthony Davis last 3 years has played more games than like half the stars in this league. You know, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Jamal Murray, Ben Simmons, all these guys. The list goes on and on. There's like an entire list and breakdown of it. And Anthony Davis has played more games than a lot of the guys. But the problem is Lakers don't care about all those guys. They care about their star and what their star is doing and being able to stay out there. And that's a big concern this season. Can he play enough games? For example, the bubble year when we won the championship and we were the best team in the league, the Lakers had Anthony Davis and LeBron James miss single-digit numbers that season, right? It wasn't 40 games that they ended up missing. And that is a big key and a big factor. They need Anthony Davis and LeBron James on the court as much as possible. I do think that this team can definitely win some games, definitely could get into the playoffs. Once you're in the playoffs, if you got a healthy LeBron, healthy AD, if you can kind of figure out Russell Westbrook, or if they end up ultimately trading him, whatever they end up doing, I like our chances. You give me a LeBron James and Anthony Davis in the playoffs, I still believe that that's the best duo in the league, just as far as fit and skill set and just combination and being able to do a little bit of everything. I think that they are bar none. But they need to be able to, one, get there, and two, they need healthy play from Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Now, Anthony Davis missed a couple games this preseason with, back tightness, stuff like that. Some of that could just be equated to it's preseason. Like, why try to kill him now? You're more concerned with him in the regular season. You know what you're going to get from Anthony Davis if he can play at a high level. Anthony Davis himself has said that he's made this season a personal goal to play 82 games. I don't think even if he could play 82 games, I don't think the Lakers would let him play 82 games. But can he play, 60 to, 62, 65, somewhere around there? That would be great. I don't mind him missing some games, especially in the league we are in today. So many stars and stuff just, they sit out games, rest, things along those lines. So I have no problem with that. Anthony Davis is expected to play the opening season, which will be Tuesday against the Golden State Warriors. So that should be good, and hopefully we see a dominant performance from Anthony Davis. And throughout the entire season, we need to see consistency from him. I don't care if he wins the MVP, but he needs to be playing at an MVP level. Like, that needs to be part of a conversation where it's like, does Anthony Davis deserve the MVP? He needs to at least be in the discussion of that, and I expect him to do that this season. Then we ended up getting this. The Lakers originally planned to have found a trade partner for Westbrook before signing Schroeder. But after the point guard's strong showing for Germany in the FIBA Eurobasket tournament generated interest around the league, LA signed him before another team could. So what this is in regards to is Russell Westbrook and the trades, right? Russell Westbrook was in all the trade rumors. There was the reports that the Lakers were going to, pull the trigger on a Pacers trade for Russell Westbrook. The original idea was we bring in Schroeder to replace Russell Westbrook, right? That was the original intent. But also they wanted to keep Schroeder from other teams, which was something that was discussed a little bit back when they first signed him. And even then, when they first signed him, it was like, okay, a trade has to be coming. This is clearly a trade that shows like the Lakers are about to move a point guard, right? Because they just have so many point guards. With the trade and acquisition of Beverly, I mean, that was a conversation. When they went and got Patrick Beverly, it was like, okay, like So Russ has got to be getting traded. He ends up not getting traded. So then it's like, okay, well, they got Russ. Patrick Beverley could play the 2, catch and shoot guard, that kind of thing. And then they have Kendrick Nunn play on the ball, could play off the ball, could play the 1 or the 2 if you needed to. Okay, that makes sense. And then they go and sign Schroeder. And it's like, wait, like what? Like, how is this going to work? How are they going to do that? They have 15 guards. It looks like the intention was what we all thought, which was, oh, they're going to trade Russell Westbrook. Once they trade Russell Westbrook, then Schroeder, would be the starting point guard, or you could go Kendrick Nunn or whoever. But now it makes more sense. Now you don't have that log jam. If you do the Pacers deal, you got Buddy Hield, who probably slots into the 2, Miles Turner at the 5. Okay, that makes sense. I get that. Cool, but didn't end up happening, and the Lakers still wanted to get Dennis Schroeder, which was a very undervalued signing, right? Like, that was a low-risk, high-reward type play. You kept him from other teams that if he was really good for them, could have been a problem. That was arguably the best dollar for value type signing the Lakers got this season, or at least, on the surface. We'll see. Like, Walker's looking like he might be really good for the Lakers this year. And if he does, then that might end up being the better value signing. But not just that, Russell Westbrook is very likely going to continue to be in trade talks and trade conversations. The Lakers plan to ramp up once the season begins, trade talks for Russell Westbrook. So I do expect them to continue to see what's out there. One thing, Russell Westbrook's value is only going to continue to increase as the season goes on because teams aren't trading for him for the player. They're trading for him for the contract and to try to get some assets in return. And now with the whole Victor Wembanyama thing, there are going to be teams that are going to just want to unload guys because they want a chance at Victor or even Scoot or some of these guys that are in this draft because it's supposed to be a very deep draft. Like Victor and Scoot are the ones that are going to get the headlines and going to be the big, sought-after guys. But there are plenty of guys in this draft that could really be game changers for many franchises in general. So I do think a lot of teams are going to go into that tank race at some point. So the Lakers got to remain patient there. And I do think that very likely, especially if Russ doesn't work, they'll be able to find a deal regardless. It's not about whether he could literally put up 30, 20, and 20 every game. The Lakers could go 82-0 this season, and teams still wouldn't want Russell Westbrook at $42 million or $47 million. They don't want him currently at his contract. I do think if he had a $10 million contract, I think that there would be a ton of teams that'd be willing to take on Russ, even for a bench role, stuff like that. I don't think there's a team in the league that wouldn't want Russell Westbrook coming off their bench as their backup point guard. Even a team like the Warriors. Still, imagine Russ in that lineup, what you would get with him as a backup. And that's kind of what the Lakers are looking into. Kind of continue the news with Russ, because we do have a lot of news that came out today with Russ. The Lakers still plan on doing the bench experiment even into the season. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to come off the bench against the Warriors or the Clippers or anything like that, but they do plan to test Russ coming off the bench. Russell Westbrook is very open to it and said he'd be willing to do it. And they equated Russ's relationship with Darvin Ham. Darvin Ham and Russ sat down and had a talk. And Darvin Ham just basically laid out kind of his thoughts. And Russell Westbrook said, hey, if that's what you want, coach, I'm for it. Which I really love. However you feel about Russ, whatever you think about Russ, at least he's showing the effort. He has been a model citizen this offseason. Everything that's asked from him, he's tried to do. He's working on it. Everything takes time. You talk about a guy that for the last, 15 years has just done the same thing, been the same player year in and year out, over and over and over again, had incredible success. He never won a championship, but he had tons of success from MVPs to, triple doubles, to being, a guy that was a face of a franchise. To go from that to now I need to set picks. Now I need to just be a role guy. And now you want me to come off the bench as a sixth man. It's going to take time, but at least Russ is willing to do so. A lot of people think I stick up for Russ too much, but his actions are proving that he's trying. And I've said it, how would you feel if you were trying to prove something or you were trying to change or you're trying to do something and everyone you cared for, everyone around you was just you're not going to be able to do that, you suck, boo. You'd be dude, can I at least try? Can I at least prove myself? Can I at least have an actual sample size during, a time to prove it? And that's what I want to see. I want to see, give Russ a couple games, give him, 20 games to see what it looks like. Bring him off the bench, Have them start, do some different adjustments and see how it works, see how it looks. You're stuck with him right now regardless, so why not embrace it? Why not just hope that for the best? Why do you got to expect the worst, especially as a fan? I don't want to expect the worst from the Lakers. Hope for the best. Yeah, hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. And we'll address it and talk about that when that time comes. But I just want to see some actual gameplay and see how it works, especially if Russ is willing to come off the bench. I really think him coming off the bench could be huge. Because, this is a guy that could legitimately win Sixth Man of the Year. This is a guy that could easily give you, 27 and 7 off the bench. Like, that would be fantastic. Not just that, but you can kind of give Russ more freedom to go just be Russ. You don't have to worry about him kind of fitting in with your system, because if he's in a bench role, it's not as important if his mistakes aren't as significant throughout the course of the game if he's playing in the bench role. So I really like that. Also for his injury, because he did, strain his hamstring. He is currently day-to-day as far as his hamstring injury goes. There is no word if he's going to play. Opening night against the Warriors, hopefully he does. I'd like to see him play, but it doesn't seem to be anything severe. It doesn't seem to be anything major. The Lakers did have a little practice today to ramp up and get ready for their first game against the Warriors. So that's going to be a big game. That's going to be important. You're on the road against the defending champs. How are you going to play? Are you going to show up? Now, personally, I think that they actually beat the Warriors, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It would be nice to start the season off 1-0, especially with our starting 5 games. Really tough. We got the Warriors and then the Clippers, and then you got the Portland Trailblazers, which should be a W, and then you got the Denver Nuggets and then the Minnesota Timberwolves. So really tough stretch to start the season. And the Lakers are really going to have to start proving immediately from day one that they're this team, that they can be that quality team that we need. But to have Russ come off the bench, to have Anthony Davis be a monster this season, and then LeBron James continues to seem to be LeBron James. He seems to be fine. I think if it can work, I think this team could be very good. Now, again, I've always lived by this season as I don't know. Everyone seems to have a definitive answer. We know how and it's they haven't even played a game yet. Let's see how it works. What if the Lakers start 5-0? I'm not saying they will, but I don't know. Who knows? What if they beat the Warriors? What if they beat the Clippers? They should beat the Blazers. They start 3-0. The entire, everybody that's saying that this team sucks and that this is not going to work are all going to be completely flipping the switch. And it just looks silly to me. I would rather see, and if it's bad, then it's bad. And we'll talk about why it's bad and how bad it is. But if it's not, why would I paint myself into a corner to where now I look silly saying this team's going to suck, this team's going to be this team's going to be that, and we get into the season and they're great. And vice versa. Why would I assume that they're going to be great? I think this team has a ton of potential. If you look at this team, I did a whole video comparing this team to the bubble team. On paper, this team looks better than the bubble team. They have more weapons. They have more attacks. The bubble team was only 34% from 3 that season. They still won because of defense. They were the number 1 defense in the league. All of that stuff. Anthony Davis, LeBron James played significant games. Like I said, they're single-digit games missed. So all of that stuff is important. And if it translates the same this season, this team could be very good. This team could be very good. Now there's a lot of factors that go into that. Chemistry, actually playing defense. How do the schemes work on the offensive, defensive end? Can Russ fit? Will Anthony Davis be that monster Anthony Davis? Those kind of things all are factors. But we don't know how that's going to look. We don't know how that's going to work. And you can't compare last season to this season because nobody on the team except for these 3 and Austin Reeves are on the team this year. Kendrick Nunn, he didn't even play last year. So he's essentially a new acquisition this year. You got a new coach, an entirely new team. You can't compare last season to this season. And they only played 21 games last season together. That's not a huge sample size to know if it works, especially your first year together. We've seen lots of stars come together, and it takes them, 50, 60 games to kind of get it together. And then when it does click, sometimes it even takes them years to get together. And then when it does, and it clicks, they're winning championships. I mean, even when LeBron went to Miami, they didn't win the first year. Yeah, they made it to the finals, but it was clunky. Like, if you, like, yeah, they went on a winning streak and stuff like that, but it wasn't, like, just beautiful, immediate dominance. They lost their first, 3 games, I think? They started the season, 9-7 or 7-9, something like that. So, it was rough, and they were able, over time, to figure it out. This team needs the same thing. They need time to figure it out. Is Russ coming off the bench? Is he going to start? But these guys got to be healthy. We're already seeing a ton of injury concerns with Walker. Troy Brown still hasn't played yet. We had an injury on Toscano Anderson. Now Russell Westbrook and his hamstring. Anthony Davis, back tightness, stuff like that. Like, that's not, if we can't stay healthy, we're in trouble. We really might be a play-in team or something like that. But if we're healthy, I really think that we're anywhere from a 4 to 6 seed. We still have the best duo in the league. Can't rule them out. If Russ can be effective and be efficient, as efficient as Russ can be, then I put this team up against anybody. I really do. I think this team has all the potential in the world. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think about all of this news? Do you think Russ can work? Do you think coming off the bench is the best answer? All those things. Do you think that they will eventually find a trade for him? They will be looking for a trade this offseason. The Schroeder news, did you think that was what we already knew? That was something, that we kind of guessed, we figured. And then the whole Anthony Davis situation. Do you think Anthony Davis can be a franchise player? Or do you think, no, it's just not in him. He just can't be that guy. However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below.